Hey, welcome to another video. Today we're going over 5 tips for defense in Rocket League that will help your defensive skills grow to the next rank. These tips are in no particular order, but you will need each of them in your arsenal to get to the very fashionable Grand Champ. Tip number 1 is definitely backpost rotations. This is probably the most important one out of all defensive tips in my opinion. Let's look at a clip of a good backpost rotation, then we'll talk about it a little more thoroughly. So right from the beginning, you can see that I miss a big aerial play, but what's important is how I recover from that whiff to transition into defense. I knew my teammate was behind me, so I went to the opposite side of the field that the ball was on. This puts me in a great defensive position because now I'm covering 100% of the goal while my teammate tries to slow the play down, and as you can see, I was able to block a shot and we actually start a counterattack. So backpost rotations ended up working out really well for us here. Let's take a look at a top-down view. Everything becomes much more clear from the top down. You see me miss that big aerial play and how I start rotating towards the back post immediately. It's clear that after I whiff, Ranger begins to challenge the ball in an effort to slow it down to buy me time to fully rotate. It works because while he doesn't actually touch the ball, the pressure slows the play down and I get the save. Top-down views are a great way to review your own replays, by the way. It really shows you what's going on. Tip number 2 is getting on the back wall to save the ball. The back wall is an underutilized space when it comes to defense because lots of clears, saves, and passes come from the back wall. You've seen Squishy Muffins, right? If you haven't, you're missing out on seriously high-level mechanics and thought processes. Anyway, let's check out a clip of some back wall defense and I'll explain how to get good at it. Here, you can see that our teammate clears the ball to the opposing team. We'll go over that in a bit. I recognize that the opponent will probably pop the ball up for a high pass off the backboard. I surely could go flying from the ground like Snuffleupagus over there, but instead I use the somewhat small amount of boost I have to drive up the back wall and hit the ball into the corner, buying my teammates time to get boost and reposition themselves for another save. Let's take a look at another example. So we can see an opponent attempting to pass the ball off the back wall to his teammates below, but with good back wall defense, I'm able to stop the play from even starting, and my team and I start a counterattack that leads to a goal. Which actually leads me to my next point. This is a really great tip because Rocket League is all about possession. Any opportunity you have to keep possession will give you many more opportunities for goals than just clearing the ball as far away as possible. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you just have to clear the ball, but not always. Sometimes it takes a bit more thought. Let's take a look at a situation where you shouldn't just bang the ball down the field. This play is a little bit confusing, but since I'm rotating back post, things become more simple. We see 2 teammates on the ball. One teammate is recovering, another is deciding whether or not to challenge the ball, and I'm trying to read the play. Eventually, he sees my lining up to pass and pulls away, which is body language for take the shot. Our recovering teammate was really smart and saw this play developing, turned to face the opponent's net, and waited for the pass. I didn't get the best touch after he slowed it down, but the point is we were able to start a counterattack from a potentially deadly play from the opponents. Sometimes Rocket League can feel really good, and sometimes you make some amazing plays. But let's be honest, we have to think about what we're doing with the ball when we have a free touch. Which, by the way, I have a video on what you should do when you get a free touch that you should watch because it's popping up on your screen right now. Anyway, tip number 4 is making sure you're not clearing the ball to the opponent. So this guy's in a bit of a weird spot because both of his teammates whiffed the clear, but instead of seeing his options, he panics and dumps the ball away to the other team. If we look from another perspective, his options become a bit more clear. He could have flown straight up to touch the ball into the corner. He could have already been riding up the wall to hit it up, out, and away from the opponents. He could have waited for the bounce off the wall to aerial up and hit the ball way over the heads of the opponents to start a counterattack. Or he could have caught it right here and maybe brought it up the wall or handed it off to his teammate. Instead, he chooses to hit the ball directly to our opponent, leaving his teammates in an awkward, panic-driven position. Don't clear to the opponent. So this one is kind of like backwall defense, but it's much more difficult. Not only do you have to get a good clear on the ball, but you have to read the bounce from the corner, which can seem unpredictable when you're in the lower ranks. After enough time banging the ball off walls, you end up getting really good at it. My opponents thought for sure they were going to pass to a teammate by bouncing the ball off the corner, but with corner clears like these, it's honestly hard to break through. Especially since my team was 100% on point the entire game and was actually able to follow up on my clears. If you lock down corner clears, you'll be literal ranks ahead of your opponents if you're diamond or lower. I'm in champ and some players straight up cannot clear from the corner. It's a valuable skill that every player needs. Speaking of valuable skills, let's look at a few training packs that will really solidify your reads and mechanics when practicing these defensive tips. So the first training pack is going to be Rizzo's Backwall Defense Training Pack. I'll leave the code up for a few seconds. This pack has some really great backwall clears. Some of these clears are very high level, but the more you practice them, the better you'll get. The key to this is to predict where the ball will be and try to place your shot somewhere you think a teammate would be, because remember, you should look for a teammate when clearing. I like to air roll to straighten myself out, then front or side flip into the ball for more power. But this isn't always necessary because sometimes your teammate's positioning won't require you to get a powerful hit. The second pack is going to be a custom Backpost Rotations pack that I made specifically for this video. This one lines you up in a perfect backpost position to save 10 shots of varying difficulties. You'll have to use this skill in every single game you play, so this is a great one to warm up with. The key to this is to primarily save the ball, but once you can consistently do that, then you should work on clearing to an imaginary teammate. Try to make this realistic by challenging yourself to get to the ball as early as possible. You'll see yourself rank up in 1 to 2 weeks if you can stay consistent with this. The last pack will be another custom training pack, Corner Clears. This one should get you really comfortable on the wall. The ball usually bounces at least a few times, so it'll really test your ability to read and execute your mechanics. Remember, you always want to clear to a teammate, so once you're consistent enough to clear the ball frequently, start clearing to that imaginary teammate. Get good. And that's it. You're well on your way to becoming a higher ranked player. I have the codes to each training pack in the description below if you need them. The biggest rule to all this is to always have fun, since after all, this is just car soccer. Like, your parents probably don't even know what the point of this is, right? Let me know in the comments. If you're interested in seeing more content like this, give the video a thumbs up to let me know this is the type of content you want to see, and also consider subscribing to see what helpful tips I come up with next. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.